Hi, Angela. Welcome. Hello, Austin. Welcome. Yeah, I'm going to start a little early today as I have a meeting coming at 7 o'clock close later on. So it's almost 5:45 here. Good evening. Welcome to everybody. Those who listen to me later on. Uh, I wish they are here and discuss with me all this we are talking about. This is has become a regular need for our moderns, I believe. And if you really understand the ancient wisdom without being a dogmatic, religious, and dividing feature, but if you really go for the wise things they had about life and life's truths and existence, if you take issues at a larger scale, what they formed as existential issues, their profound insights happen not because of the external going intellect, but internally turned intuition, right? That's the difference between them and us. And we need them because we are doing the going out and doing stuff rather overly, right? We get to be sometimes and reflect on the things that we are doing, and then get a good understanding of what is going on, and then imply those hacks of wisdom that we learned from the ancients. So I'm not going backward, either I'm using these things to go forward, you know. So some people have that attitude like we are being regressive when we are using the ancient wisdom, but I don't think so. I think we are really being very novel, because these are what they term as ever new findings of the human psyche, human interior, human reactions. So that's why I kind of look to that, and I get enormous strength and peace and energy from that application, right? So I get up really getting into that kind of practices, that kind of listening, that kind of reading stuff, and all that, you know. And I feel I always learn. I'm a ever never ending student. So always a student, right? And then whatever we learn, if we share, actually it becomes grounding in us, and also we can relate better. People know what you are standing for, and giving itself is like getting a lot, right? So that's why I do these things. I saw modern physicians, my colleagues, really overburdened, overwhelmed, and thoroughly demoralized, and not enjoying their profession and their work and their families. And that's why I had to go and look for these things and then imply them in my coaching of the burnout physicians and the nurses, which I'm trying to do informally lots of times, but sometimes formally too. Uh, we established a company, Be a Pal. Their services, the main thing is about coaching the burnout physicians and the nurses. But we also have a wellness club just to introduce the people to these styles of living, and some consultations that happen. And also, I have written some books and courses which I freely give usually to people. All those services are meant to help people to handle this modern stress and burnout. Actually, we should be very equipped with everything in this day and age. We shouldn't be falling apart like that, like I see with the healthcare workers, IT professionals, and company corporate leaders. They are going to pieces sometimes because external circumstances are extremely hard, right? So we started the first day of how could we have inner balance when we have so much negative situations outside. That's by being who we really are, not our personality, but our real nature inside. And then we talked about how can we attend to all day and how can that help. That's the second one. And the third day, this is about the cultivating the resilience. How can we do that? You know, that's what I was doing yesterday, and I'm going to continue on that because that's a lot of factors out there. First thing we talked about was the meditative awareness. Now we will talk about self-care that is comprehensive, right? Part of the self-care is you got to watch what you eat and what you do and what you uh, how do you sleep and how do you sleep, and also how do you handle your mind and emotions and all that, right? It's a comprehensive thing because you cannot just do only one thing and let other things go to waste, right? So that's why I take that approach. And you don't have to be really compulsive or really obstinate about this. You can understand the common sense behind it. And then the underlying essential principle is, how can you be natural in your body, in your diurnal cycles of the body, like a digestive system, and you are waking up, sleeping. All those cycles are there for a purpose. Nature has given us that. Be in touch with that. Don't impose on it with your so-called modern lifestyle. For example, if your body after certain decades needs sleep, you better sleep at the night time regularly at the same time so that you will be having a good quality sleep. But then if you have a late night movies, late night shows and nightlife and all that, they're kind of not really good for your self-care in a sense. This is not a moralistic thing, it's a physiological thing, it's a important medical thing too. So people don't have to be uh, ridden with disease than when they want to take rest. If you want to cultivate this natural energy, joy within by eating on correctly when you are really hungry, not on time, but when you are really hungry, and sleeping when you are really sleepy, and not using any aids for the sleep, and also um, eat light and think light before you sleep. All those help. So it's a comprehensive self-care at any given time of the day, right? People have to go through that. So that's another thing I talk about quite a lot, and I live it and I share it. Vital nutrition, for example, all the cooking, everything that we do is not really healthy. But if you can eat good fruits and vegetables, and then making the cooking also such a way that the vegetables and fruits or whatever you're cooking is not losing the vital energy. This is from the Ayurveda. They talk about energies. There are three types, and they are there in the foods, they are there in ourselves. So suppose we are very driven, want to do stuff, there are the times of days where we have to rush, we have to run and all that, right? Can you do that without being tense? Then you are in that just energy. And for that, you need to eat some spices, some onions, some things like that. Okay, there are recommendations for each quality of energy that we have. There's a tamas, which is like a lazy. Rajas, like I said, it's a kinetic, very active energy. And sattvic is where you're laid back and really relaxed and wise and all that, right? So these are very important for people to really understand the quality of food, fresh food that is cooked, and then if you eat within 45 minutes, has that pranic energy they call it, which is like just a life energy. It's a vitality, right? You feel that when you go to a hotel. Suppose they are making a omelette downstairs, you go and have a fresh omelette from pan to plate. You can see how that tastes and how that feels. Also, that is the vital energy I'm talking about. General rule is, anything that is cooked, you eat it within 30 to 40 minutes, then it will retain the. If you freeze it, if you heat it up, it won't have the same energy. Okay, that's what we want to remember. So be natural, be in sync with your natural body cycles. We call them circadian rhythm, right? Diurnal rhythms. So they change every 12 hours, right? So the body gets up if you properly sleep at night and energetic, and then participate in activities, and then sundown it goes to sleep and want to take rest. Listen to that, listen to the body's needs, listen to the natural rhythms. And then when you eat, when you move, when you think, remember these energies are there and that will make you do all these things. Balance them and maintain them. So that is the inner energy, but there's a lot to go into that. Suppose somebody consults me and says, I don't feel energetic no matter what I do. I exercise, I eat, I sleep well enough. Then I attend to their um, particular situation and then examine where things are going not right. Ultimately, it comes to a lifestyle thing. Majority of times, it's the lifestyle thing. Some people may be eating something they're not really compatible with. Okay, they produce allergies of that, right? But in a different form. So you just examine each routines and then you can discover, and most of the time they're away from the nature outside, nature inside. So that's where resilience comes out, when you are compatible and you are aligned with all the energies in the balance. Okay, so I kind of do the yoga in the morning, but then before the yoga, I don't drink anything, I don't eat anything. I try to be empty. But if you are diabetic and if you have blood sugar problems, then we have to advise them what they should do, how they could have a light snack and start do, and then don't do some things. That kind of customization for them will be done. Wellness club is more like introducing people to changes that they may have to make in their lifestyles. And also it takes some time. There are ways to do that without harming yourself. So that's why I put it like a very cheap price on that, so that they can make commitment, but they don't have to pay a lot to come into that and get these habits established. It's more like a social service designed, but basically giving out to them at a very economical rate for everybody, right? Once they come in, then they will be doing some routines that will be very conducive to them to evaluate these natural rhythms and how the energies are spreading around, what kind of things they take to the work, how they work with a functional exercise at workplaces, and then when they how what kind of attitude they maintain, what kind of thinking they maintain during the work, and they go into the perspective, they go into the life's goals, all those things, right? So individual evaluation is needed for that. That's why we do consultations too. And then some events that I do, the challenges that I do, people come there and then learn some particular way of life, particular way of doing cooking, particular way of exercising, particular way of preparing yourself for the sleep, and the ambience around the bedroom, and what you do before sleep and after sleep. Those kind of things I focus. And of course, meditation, calming the mind down, and what is beyond meditation. That's something I take out with people who are really interested, who are really oriented towards that. Okay, so that's practical resilience, practical spirituality for the cultivating resilience is all that involves. So, any particular questions, any particular requests, I kind of entertain. Otherwise, we can explore them in detail also. I plan to do this as a series because these are not 1 hour talks, or these are not simple statements, right? You get to understand so many things. Sometimes your whole thinking may do catapult, because the way we traveled from the ancient times to now in terms of thinking and feeling and inner work is very different. Some are good. Positive psychology is good, and but then making everybody a psychiatric patient is not good. Okay, what is inside us that is positive, that is very uh, strong, very emphatic, and when it comes out, it is really helps our life in dealing with the tasks and the dangers of the life, right? So it takes some time. but it has evolved over thousands of years, you know. And then after science has role as a savior of the mankind, a lot of these uh, time-tested wisdom lessons were forgotten because some kind of fundamentalism in science also there. So it's called scientificism. That means everything is answered by science. Not so. We cannot cure all the diseases. As a physician, I know about that. You know, however current I am, still there are so many things that we need to find out about drugs, about therapies, about modalities of treatments, about understanding the metabolism, understanding the gene. A lot going on. That's all good. That's all excellent, I think. But then we are missing out on the inner aspect. That's where I look to the east. I look to the ancients. You know, for me personally, that helped. That's what I'm trying to share. Okay. So I will be doing this talks for some time now on this practical spirituality. There are actually 10 topics I kind of wrote down that I should be talking about. You know, cultivating resilience is the third topic. You know, so I put it there not as a day 3 or day 4, but then those 10 topics are supposed to be up to 10. But then these things have to be elaborated. That's why I'm extending them. Okay. There are people on the wisdom, they want to come up. I get lost sometimes. Hi, Julie, Angela, and also Diana, Duana. Okay, nice to see you here. And if you have any questions or anything, I'm will be more than happy to talk to you. Angela, I have seen you for a while. You know, Julie also. Uh, but this inner resilience, for example, how you can test with simple things whether you are inner resilient or not. You know, how do you get up in the morning? How do you feel? Do you feel energetic? Do you feel looking forward to the today without any expectations, or are you very enthusiastic about going to the whatever you do, whatever the service you provide? Are you grateful? How is your inner energy like? You know, that's the resilience, you know, and you are ready to go, you are ready for anything, you are equipped. Suppose you meet some, in my case, I meet some patients that are very objectionable, very rude, and very, most of the time, they are not rude to the doctors. Probably they look at them as figures of authority. I don't get to the negativity that much. But I see my nurses, my other workers that are helping us in the clinic or the hospital, they get the rough treatment. They get the all the. So what do you do when the patient, especially like us, we are private practice, right? So if you are in a private practice, you cannot really lose the patient, right? So we don't have to take from them, but at the same time, you cannot be reactive to them, right? So that's not good for us. So that's what I teach them. How can you remain responding to the challenge of the day without emotionally getting frustrated, insulted, or feeling like you were uh, trash, like, you know, that they make you feel like that. Okay, even the racism, or even the discrimination that we all feel in different walks of life, all those challenges of life, how do you react? Do you react, or do you have the reactivity going down as you are going up in the life? Are you are getting older, getting wiser? How is that resilient thing? It's not like being hard or being cruel. I'm talking about looking at that person compassionately, that he is behaving in a way that is asking for help, right? Once you have the perspective, then you will be able to treat that patient or whoever coming in with care and compassion. And most of the time, you show kindness and compassion, people do respond. Are we doing it all the time? You know, so that's what the ancient did. kind to the animals, kind to the trees, kind to the people. They were taking students very early age, but they don't charge anything for the teaching, you know. And then they kind of made their life so simple that they are not hurting the planet. All those things are there. We can learn from that. And then when you go to the work, how enthusiasm you have, not just for your goals, your job requirements, but for the welfare of the institution or the hospital or particular department or your colleague or anything. Like, other than you, how much you are orienting yourself to help, to work, to deliver, to identify their goals as your goals, their victories as your. All these things come into having this resilience inside, right? And the kind person, the compassionate person is the strong person. It is the inner nature that is strong. It is the thoughts that are weak, that make us weak. So there's a famous saying by Ramana Maharshi, uh, thoughts change, but not you. Let go the passing thoughts and hold on to the real self. So understand that, and there is a lot there. It's not the thoughts, it is not the personality that's built by thought construction, but the energy behind it. The more you are in that energetic self, your real true nature, conscious being, the more stronger you are. The less your mind will be moving around. Okay, so that kind of thing. And then, uh, what was the lunch you had? Do you sit down and eat in rather silence, or you are in a meeting and then you are eating or thinking something else? How are you appreciating that food itself? Are you grateful that food has given its life to give you life? Are you grateful for those 15 or 16 people that spend time and energy to prepare that food? Again, inner resilience builds up the more you give out from that perspective. Then you finish the work, you go home, and then you take time to reflect, you time to understand what your behavior, your incidents, and come out better. That builds up resilience. And then you take a deep sleep and positive mind. So this is how the entire day in anybody can see. And then there are evolved lifestyles. Some people may smoke, some people may be drinking, or some people may want to entertain themselves. So many other ways they go out, but they never pause to go inward. I'm not saying everybody, but most of the people, right? General public and all that. So lots of people asking, what is that going inward, looking inside? All those things they don't understand. But there is a special faculty that everybody has that kind of makes us go inward. Your intuition, your awareness, that's turned, not your intellect, not your senses, but your intuition. There are ways to really be intuitive all the time and really understand how it can be enhanced. That's also part of the training that I give. Many of the people, especially women, are naturally intuitive. Okay, so they are much more easier for them to grasp the subtleties, but that is where the surrounding energy and then understanding everything. Okay, so resilience inside means not just being hard, not just being stubborn, not just being fundamental or imposing on other people, but resilience is how you react to life, to events, and how you understand this energy from the nutrition to emotional intake to thoughtful intake, a lot of thoughts, and how you deal all those things during the work and after work, and also how do you get rid of the dirt that you have accumulated within you. There are so many ways to detox yourself, right? In Ayurveda they call it about panchakarma. There's 5 ways of the um, detoxifying yourself. Okay, I'm going to talk about it when the situation comes. But it's a very good thing to do, very natural processes, and that helps. See, there is a natural intelligence compliant to nature, and if you cultivate that natural intelligence in the body and the mind, you are better off. Okay, but these days we kind of give the medications more like a habit, not like a intervention, and then take it off. But then you can do that with antibiotics. You can give the antibiotics when you have infection, take it off. But the other metabolic problems like diabetes, hypertension, COPD, heart problems, any number of things, right? Um, they're kind of don't encourage other things, other ways of life to uh, encounter this kind of civilization related or lifestyle related problems. Okay, don't smoke, don't drink, and eat good organic vital nutrition food like we talked about. um, have the functional exercise every day, and sleep optimally, improve the quality of sleep, and don't think too much, and also don't carry on whatever happened in your mind all for years and all that. Wash it off every day, and if you do these things you will be very well off. Okay, so I can go on like a one-sided talk on this forever, but then that's not very productive for you. I don't want to be randomly talking also. If you have any particular questions, I will answer next few minutes, and then I will have to leave probably. No, Nazli, are you having any questions? Anything on the cultivating resilience inside? Anybody on the wisdom? Okay. All right, then I will continue this tomorrow. Maybe I'll bring in the other 10 things that I talked about. Maybe I'll enumerate them in the beginning. And it's supposed to be one day at a time, but this cultivated resilience is such an important thing, such a important job I do on this. And every day I practice it, I live it, and I experience it. So I think this works. So I'm a vegetarian. I have plenty of exercise, and I do the breathing quite well. And then I talk in these rooms, but then afterwards I don't have the accumulation of all this. I kind of dump it. I have quick ways of cleaning up my mind that you anybody can learn, provided they are willing to learn about it. And there are ways you can do before sleep, after sleep, that can enhance your sleep quality. So any number of things in self-care. Um, but then I address according to the person, according to where they are, instead of being one particular fundamental imposition. It's more like easing them into education of how they got there, what kind of things they ignored, and then how they can change that habit, and then they will be happy to live and joy and living and giving and loving. Okay. All right. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you for coming.